Friends, in the year 1288, when Marco Polo visited Madurai, the capital city of the Pandya kingdom in South India, he wrote down his observation as follows. The darkest man is here the most highly esteemed and considered better than the others who are not so dark. These people portray and depict their gods and their idols black, and their devils white as snow, for they say that God and all the saints are black, and the devils are all white. However, do you know that the same Pandyas were fair-skinned when Ham, the son of Noah, visited them about 4,400 years prior? Today, when scholars talk about India, the narrative is always about Aryans versus Dravidians. Somehow they totally miss out the huge presence of the Japhetic people, namely the Kurus, who had everything to do with the Mahabharata war. The Kurus were not Aryans. The Aryans had come from the Armenian region, which gave them the title Aryans, whereas the Kurus were from the Siberian region, which is called Uttara Kuru in Mahabharata, and they were the descendants of Noah's third son Japheth, and the Pandya kings were Japhetic as well. The copper plates of Belvikudi, which is kept in the British Museum, states that Pandya kings were from the north of Himalayas, which was a Japhetic region. The Pandyas trace their lineage back to an ancient king named Pandya himself, who was the father of Pururavas, who had the connection with the water nymph Urvashi. He is the one whom the biblical Shem partnered with and established Bharatvarsha, the ancient India. Moreover, the word Pandu means white. That's why they were called Pandyas. And there are records of Yavanas, meaning the descendants of Japheth's son Javan, mentioned in the Bible, working as palace guards, and Yavana girls being among the Pandya king's women. Then, when did they become dark-skinned? Well, that started early on, around 3100 BC, when a group of people called the Aborigines that traveled with a biblical Ham from Africa started mingling with the local people of South India. They had arrived at the harbor city of Madurai, which was a part of the now sunken Kumari Nadu, which used to stretch into the Indian Ocean. By the way, one can read about the Aborigines from the book The Travels of Noah, written in the year 1601. That makes the origin of the Dravidian people to as early as 3100 BC. However, at that time, according to the Bible, the whole world was speaking the same language. And thus, Ham and his people were able to communicate with the Indians easily. This also means that there wasn't a Tamil language then. Then, around 2900 BC, the biblical Kush, known as Kashyapa, and his descendants such as Vishwamitra, Rama, and Krishna moved into India and started ruling different parts of India. Now the Kushites were dark-skinned, and their people also mingled with the Indians as well, thus making India a brown country. Apparently, at the time of Krishna, the harbor city of Madurai, which I mentioned before, had already gone under the ocean. Why I say that is that just prior to the Mahabharata war that occurred around 2750 BC, Lord Krishna, the king of Dwaraka, visited the city of Kapatapuram as the chief guest to the Tamil Changam, which was a body of scholarly people convened by the Pandya king in order to form and develop the Tamil language. Well, these are some tidbits for a comprehensive knowledge of ancient history, friends. Thanks for watching.